Ghanaian workers in the domestic setting, artisans. Why can't we take advantage of that to solve our unemployment crisis and also to regulate the space so that what is happening in the Gulf to some of our workers, our fellow compatriots, is addressed? When these receiving countries know that the labor they have received is not from some clandestine agency engaged in some, human trafficking operation, they will be mindful in how they treat these workers. So expect that one of our priority areas will be using foreign policy to address unemployment. We can make sure that brain drain becomes brain gain, where these bilateral agreements will help create jobs for the young people of our country. You go out there to the UK as a nurse, as a doctor, if it's probably for a 5-year period, you get some new skills, you build capacity, you can decide to come back with some good, foreign currency, and the country also benefits. So expect that we will formalize these arrangements and we'll be very deliberate and aggressive about it to create jobs for our young people.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the nominee and once again congratulate him for his appointment.
I move to give the floor to Honorable Oko Vanderboy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nominee, congratulations. I'm one of the many Ghanaians who are very happy to see you where you are seated this morning. Nominee, I've worked with you in the 7th Parliament and in the 8th Parliament as my leader on the Foreign Affairs Committee. And I appreciate the leadership skills and knowledge that you bring to where you are sitting this morning. When you get to the ministry, what will be some of your priority areas?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Oko Vanderboy, and thank you for the kind words and the tremendous support you gave me for 8 years on the Foreign Affairs Committee as my deputy ranking. I have just talked about one of the priority areas, economic diplomacy, pursuing bilateral agreements to create jobs for the young people of our country in a regulated migration that benefits the individual and the country. The other thing that I want to reform is our passport regime. There are too many complaints about how difficult it is to get passports and to get them in good time. I have been going through some briefs, and I noticed that we have a backlog of over 70,000 passports that have not been collected. Then there are issues with the middlemen, Goro boys, and all of that. I recall the former foreign minister, the Honorable Sheila Yokobuchi, storming the passport office in frustration and saying that, look, this crisis cannot continue. I would like to use technology to reform our passport regime. I don't think that we should still be requiring Ghanaians who have a Ghana card to go to passport office for their biometrics. This system of silos.
Honorable nominee, the question was your priority areas.
We can engage courier services to send your passport to you at home or in the office. So modernizing the whole regime as we move from the current biometric to chip embedded passports will be a matter of importance to me. Then the third one, as I conclude, is a reform of the institution, the Foreign Service. I would like to introduce a department that will focus on delivery, the delivery unit. I want us to give clear KPIs to our ambassadors and our high commissioners. Now, where we are in the current global ecosystem, you can't be relying on aid, relying on loans, relying on other countries. Let's aggressively pursue economic diplomacy. When we send you there as an ambassador, it's not just to be attending events. You must bring us something home that will impact the lives of the people. How many investors are you bringing in? How many industries? FDI, and all of that. So they will be giving clear KPIs. Because if you look at last year's budget, we spent more than 875 million Ghana cedis on our foreign service staff alone. That's almost $1 billion. And you ask yourself, these 71 missions out there, what are they bringing in? And that is why many people think foreign affairs is so removed, is so abstract. What do we even get from foreign ministry? We are going to change that perception. Clear KPIs, you must bring something home. If within 1 year we are not seeing benefits, you will be reshuffled. Who will be more dynamic, who will be proactive in our national interest.
Thank you. Any further question?
Mr. Chair, I think the nominee has done well with my question. I don't have any more questions. I just want to congratulate him. And once again, I want to say I'm very happy to see you where you are. And I want to thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. I proceed to give the floor to Honorable Abujinapo. Please. Honorable Abujinapo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me begin by congratulating the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa for his nomination to this very high office as and occupying the shoes of statesmen like Nana Addo Dankwa, Obeda Samoa, Victor Gbewo, and the rest, especially at his age. It's quite a significant achievement, and warm congratulations. Then Mahama in his inaugural address also reiterates the point. Chairman, I followed the nominee. I've read most of his articles, his presentations, the articles about him and all of that. And it is clear on the evidence that the nominee is a leftist. He's a leftist. I would say he's a socialist. I will refrain myself from saying that he's a communist. I will refrain myself from saying so. You will see, Mr. Chairman, that the nominee, for example, wrote a tribute to His Excellency John Pombi Makafuli and delivered it on the floor of Parliament when he died on 17th March 2021. And therefore, Mr. Chairman, the nominee's views are known.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, let me place on record that I am not a communist. Of course, I am left of center. All of us in the NDC subscribe to the left of center political ideology, which we are very, very proud of. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has worn the badge proudly because we believe in the welfare state and we believe in humanism to our economic interventions that don't encourage exploitation, particularly by a few elites. So you are right about where I belong ideologically, left of center, which is where my party, the NDC, belongs. So I am very much at home. Having said that, let us remember Kwame Nkrumah's tact and skillful approach to our foreign policy. Kwame Nkrumah was on the left, but he managed to at the height of the Cold War, a bipolar era, to still get there made by our national interest. Kwame Nkrumah did it, President Mahama has been doing it, receiving support from all sides. And in the current multipolar world, be rest assured that I will attend to this responsibility with all fairness and objectivity. Note from my CV that in the 8th Parliament, I was chair of the Ghana-Cuba Parliamentary Friendship Association, but also very active in our U.S. Ghana Parliamentary Friendship Association. Indeed, a proud member of the American Council of Young Political Leaders. So there are a few of us who straddle and who are liked by all sides because we are very objective in our dealings. So be rest assured, I consider myself a good friend of all the forces at play in the global arena.
Chairman, that is reassuring, and I think, Chairman, it's important that we lay the proper foundations before we ask the questions, so that both the nominee and the country...
Please don't litigate with me.
No, I'm not litigating, Chairman. I'm just... So I have a follow-up question. Now, again, Mr. Chairman, the nominee is on record to have, you know, if you want, not so much is on record to have, you know, if you want, not so much criticized, but raise substantive and significant issues with Ukraine as opposed to the West in the Ukraine-Russian war. And I have an article here where the nominee indicates that the war between Russia and Ukraine, which has been roundedly condemned by all international organizations, the United Nations, African Union, ECOWAS, and the rest, is as a result of Ukrainians' failure of foreign policy. Mr. Chairman, also the nominee is on record to have taken issues with the West in its dealings with Israel as it relates to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And the point I seek to make is that the nominee is obviously, in his years of activism,
articles, you see that I try to be very objective and balanced and more nuanced than the summary.
The conclusion, whether you've taken sides, is it correct?
No, the conclusion is far-fetched. I have not taken sides. And Mr. Chairman, I know you'll be happy to hear that I have been invited by both sides. There are probably few people who have achieved that. The Russians invited me, and I was guest in their parliament. There was a second invitation where I went with former President Mahama to launch his book at the Russian Academy of Sciences, the Russian translation. And then the Ukrainians invited me. I spent a week there. We were, touring Kiev and other places. We went to the landmines. I helped them to even demine, some of the Russian mines that had been left in Ukraine. So that should tell you, the countries don't have any issues with me. Israel has invited me on a number of occasions. The Palestinians have also done that. Indeed, the Palestinian ambassador in Ghana is one of my very, very good friends. And so is the Israeli ambassador. So please be rest assured that despite my ideological stance on these matters, you will see objectivity. But Article 40 is clear. We must also, in the pursuit of our foreign policy, be guided by international law, a rule-based order, international principles. So where our friends err, we should be bold to point it out. Because as Nkrumah said on the 16th of December 1959, when he presented our foreign policy to Parliament, he said that we will not be passive spectators, that as good friends, when you err, when you commit genocide, when you commit atrocities against women and children, we will point it out to you. And it does not make us bad friends. It rather, makes us very, very good friends. So that's the position I take on these matters.
Thank you very much. Your last question? Or you have a follow-up on this?
This was a follow-up on the first question.
It cannot be.
No, it was.
It cannot be.
I said so that it was a follow-up.
No. The fact that you said so doesn't mean it should be a follow-up.
No, it was
Please,
a follow-up.
ask a follow-up question whether he is taking sides in these various wars that we have mentioned. Please go ahead with the follow-up question on this.
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I asked a question about his leanings on taking sides. And I made a follow-up on the specific issue of whether or not you take sides. It was all about taking sides. Thank you.
How is he going to marry?
No, it was taking sides. And then I gave a specific example whether he take sides.
Please, your last question.
Last question?
If you have a follow-up on this, I will allow it.
Mr. Chairman, no. This is it. I can give you the documentations I use. No, because it's a follow-up. It was alleged that unimpeachable evidence from the Lands Commission shows that the two daughters of President Akufo-Addo have acquired some state lands in cantonments, and that amounted to state capture. Mr. Chairman, the company which was the subject matter of this allegation was Nsunam Company Limited. Mr. Chairman, a search at the Lands Commission will show that the land in question is the property of administrators of the estate of Justice, the late Justice Johnson Sribo, a former Justice of the Supreme Court and Chairman of the Electoral Commission, who acquired the land as far back as 1969, specifically on 1st June 1969. And indeed, Mr. Chairman, at the time, the president's children were not even born. The subject matter land was acquired by the states, Mr. Chairman, as far back as 1869, and the lease will end in 2069. So clearly, this land is not state land. The president's children did not buy state land. On the evidence, on the record, it is absolutely clear that they did not buy state land. Will the nominee concede, given that he's seeking to be foreign minister and will be required to be fair to all manner of persons, that the president's children were wrongly accused and he will apologize to them? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, your quick answer.
Well, thank you very much for the question. The Honorable Abu-Jinapor will recall that when I put out that article, I supported the article with evidence from the Lands Commission. I attached an official search that I had conducted on those two lands. Indeed, those are lands that you have in Somnam and then the lot boutique, a fashion boutique. And I sought to inquire from the Lands Commission the status, the ownership of the land. And the Lands Commission responded in that official search, which I published, and Ghanaians can go on my social media handles. You see the official search results, where the Lands Commission, in their response, indicated that all those lands are government lands. So in my article, I asked a question. Is this another state capture? Is President Akufo-Addo allocating state lands to his daughters? It was a question based on empirical evidence, what the Lands Commission had told me in writing as official search results when I put in that official search. So there is really no need to apologize on this matter. We need to probably be discussing reforming the Lands Commission. You were Lands Minister. If you think that the Lands Commission misled me, you need to join us with ideas on how to reform the Lands Commission, get their data to be more accurate, so that when we conduct official search, what they tell us, the reports that they give us, their search certificates, are not misleading. Because all of the facts you've put out, I don't know them. In 1979, I wasn't born.
Thank you.
So the Lands Commission told me they are government lands, and I have the documents here.
Thank you.
To confirm
Thank you
that. So
very much. Thank you very much.
It's not my fault.
Any follow-up on the land acquisition?
Mr. Chairman, my follow-up will be that I have in my hands, and this is all about government lands. Of course, I mean, the nominee is literally established and conceded that the president's daughter did not buy state lands. If they were government lands as far back as 1969, they were not state lands at the time when they were tenants. As you know, they are tenants of that place.
Please,
but
your
anyway,
follow-up question.
Please,
your follow-up question.
Mr. Chairman, please, this being a house of records, I have not admitted.
I know.
I haven't said
house of records.
I'm saying that
you never
the record I have, what the Lands Commission gave me.
Therefore,
when I
you
conduct
won't
official
rescind your decision
yes.
and apologize.
So
please,
I'm
go ahead with
I'm
your
not
question.
changing my stance on the matter.
I've not litigated that. I will not litigate that. All that I said was that the evidence is clear that the land was bought as far back as 1969. The president's children are just tenants, so they did not buy state land. That's the point I'm making. I'm not litigating with you, Mr. Nominee. I'm just setting the record straight that they did not buy state land. I see that the nominee has, on multiple occasions, asked for, quote, the state to eschew frivolous foreign travels by government officials, end quote, and gone at great length to make the point about how we need to be frugal. I know that the foreign minister travels on first-class ticket. Will he travel on economy ticket when he's made foreign minister?
Accordingly, the question is overruled. It can't be a follow-up question on acquisition of land. You are done. I then give the floor to Honorable Ziwera. Honorable Ziwera, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to congratulate my boss and my mentor and to wish him well. Congratulations, Honorable Blakwa. Your leadership has been exemplary in the Committee of Nations. I can only wish you well, and I say congratulations, Honorable Blakwa. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable
Thank
Joel.
you. Order. Order. Thank you. Order. Order. I proceed to give the floor to Honorable Soa.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Honorable nominee, my Anglican brother, I wish to congratulate you on your nomination by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. And I am sure and I trust that you are going to deliver well to the people of Ghana. My question, how will you make our embassies and high commissions more responsive to Ghanaians in the diaspora?
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Odole. I call her the MP with the most embassies in Ghana. Virtually all the embassies and high commissions are in her constituency. This is a very, very important question, and Ghanaians in the diaspora are really concerned about how our embassies and high commissions can be more responsive. As ranking member, I advocated strongly for the establishment of a consular fund. I was shocked to learn that our hardworking foreign service staff have to sometimes contribute their own money from their pockets to assist distressed Ghanaians out there who need consular assistance. In the budget for the foreign service, we don't have a line item for consular relations. And you know, under the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, 1963, countries must extend these courtesies to their citizens. So, as foreign minister, when given the nod, I will make sure that we establish the consular fund. We must make sure that this fund exists, that can be assessed by our foreign service staff to extend assistance, particularly in this period where the United States has announced mass deportations. Those who may be rounded up to be deported are entitled to consular support. We must get them legal assistance so that they are not just rounded up and deported, their rights violated. You know, sometimes even in the deportation, how they are deported, sometimes chained to seats and all of that, treated as criminals. that is a violation of their human rights. It affronts their dignity. And these are matters that I will pursue forcefully. So we will seek to establish the Consular Fund. And in the KPIs that we will be drafting for our diplomats, we'll also make sure that they prioritize the needs, the concerns, and the plight of Ghanaians who are living abroad. Because really, why establish an embassy if you cannot take care of Ghanaians within that jurisdiction? So that will be a priority area. And I thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. I'm sure our brothers and sisters out there will be excited about your response. I wish to wish you well on your appointment as the Foreign Minister for the Republic of Ghana, and I pray God's blessings for you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I proceed to recognize Honorable Amprechum.
Thank you, Chairman, for this opportunity. Honorable Sami, we meet again. Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, MP for the good people of Northton. You are at the verge of becoming the number 3 diplomat of this great country of Ghana after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President, Her Excellency Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, the Vice President. Honorable nominee, permit me to remind you that the international arena that you are going to operate in and the diplomatic circles that you are going to engage in is very different from the political terrain that you have been dancing with your propaganda theatrics.
Honorable member, you haven't started well. You are out of order. I will give you the floor to start well.
Thank you.
Else I will rule you out.
We have worked and engaged. I have worked and engaged with you on the Foreign Affairs Committee for 8 years, including the last 4 years as the immediate past Deputy Foreign Minister for Political and Economic Affairs. And I can say, without any shred of doubt, that you have the capacity and the capabilities to rise up to the responsibilities of the position of the Minister for Foreign Affairs. If, and only if, you change your suit of sometimes giving disinformation. And I have 2 references as my business.